Here, I'm going to give you a shot of the view, like I always do. I have a couple of things that I want to clear up on, and the first is I am putting my podcast on hold for the time being. Life has happened and I'm unable to move forward with that right now. Hopefully I will get back to that in June, but it may reach July. I'm unsure yet how that's going to go. So I wanted to get that out in the open. The other thing is, a lot of thinking about what it means to be carnivore. I really talk about this a lot, or I have lately, especially on my TikTok channel, where I'm like, how do you describe yourself? And the label thing. And you all know that I have a hard time with that. I think it's putting people in boxes is not the way to go. Putting yourself in a box is not the way to go. I think what I like to focus on when I'm working with people is you know yourself. And if you don't know yourself, this is a great time to learn to understand a few things about yourself that maybe you didn't understand before. So my approach when I come in and help people, coaching people through the carnivore diet, the carnivore lifestyle, because it's actually taking a diet, a way of eating, and incorporating the other elements along with that as soon as you get that first, number one, most important part working in your daily life. So it's coming in and opening yourself up to a new, better version of your life as a way to find your highest, brightest, most vital level of health, mental health, physical health, emotional health, so that you live your life, I mean, in this incredible place that I have found myself in quite by accident. I didn't know that I would come to this kind of level of living when I started the carnivore diet. I had started on a raw vegan diet, went through all the different diets, and ended up carnivore as a way to find a way to help relieve this poor physical body and the mental stress and emotional stress that came along with these 4 different types of herpes outbreaks that I would always get about 8 times a year. You can go check out my videos. Some of the earliest videos that I have on this channel talk specifically about that, how the carnivore diet stopped my herpes outbreaks. And, I've got 4 different types, HSV1 and 2, herpes zoster. I get the expression on my fingers as herpetic whitlow and on my toes. And the Epstein-Barr that doesn't come out as blisters, but it kind of blisters you on the inside. And so having those different types of herpes for many, many, many years. In fact, HSV1 I've always had since I was a kid. We just called them cold sores. But HSV1, and I had chicken pox, which probably is the result of the herpes zosters, the varicella zosters, VZV virus that comes out on my neck and chest area. I'm one of the lucky ones that doesn't have the horrible, horrible nerve pain. I don't know how I got lucky that way. Genital herpes, I have no idea when I picked that up. And just the Epstein-Barr symptoms coming in. Well, anyways, that's who I am. So I found the carnivore diet. Within 6 months, all of my herpes outbreaks vanished. I haven't had any since. As long as I'm carnivore, if I slip off the carnivore diet and I start eating other things, which I did in the first 2 years, I would immediately get the itchiness, right? That like something's happening, like, I would get an itch and then a little bump. I would take tons of lysine, L-lysine, and it never came out as an expression, as the blisters on my body. But my body was not ready to eat, to handle anything else other than the carnivore diet. So I have been pretty strict carnivore, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. I do eat dairy. I don't have a problem with it. Milk, not very often, but I do have milk. I don't seem to have a problem with milk as well. And yogurt. Mostly I'm eating butter and cheese are my two things that I basically eat. And eggs, I have no problem with eggs, egg whites. I love the egg yolks, always been my favorite part, so that's good. And coming to, I don't know, this state of being that is, for the first time in my life, fully expressive of who I am. So not only did my herpes outbreak stop, right, and not only did a bunch of other things happen again, go check out the videos. I have a video, it's called the 21 things that changed on the carnivore diet. I can't remember the title exactly, but there's actually 23 things. Things keep coming up and keep opening up where it's like, oh yeah, that as well. Anyways, so I come to the carnivore diet. I relieve myself from all of these health issues, arthritis and, incontinence and UTIs and herpes and those feelings of, aging and not sleeping and herpes and all these things, right? They just went away. They were gone. Everything was gone in 6 months. Didn't happen from one day to the next, but very quickly you could tell things were happening. So my energy level uplifted. I am much stronger and younger than I was even when I was 30, when I was young, right? I have this energy about me that never wanes. Of course I can get tired. Of course I, maybe lie down for an afternoon rest. I don't actually nap anymore. But I have the energy and I have the clarity of mind to do my things. And I am a neurodivergent type person, kind of, I got a lot going on. And have always had a very, very difficult time keeping things in order. So that hasn't disappeared, but it has gotten much better. So I look at this carnivore thing as a lifestyle, right? It's not being carnivore, quote unquote carnivore, or animal-based, or ketovore, or ketogenic, or lion diet, right? Those are all just definitions that we don't need to wrap ourselves up in. I really dislike the boxing, putting everybody in their little box and, oh, you're that, and oh, you're this, and oh, well, wow, you had a bite of watermelon yesterday, so you're not carnivore anymore. And, I talk about that. I've talked about that before. I think it's ridiculous and unnecessary. But I do understand that, we need a definition. We need definitions to help other people understand what we're doing. But it's not just the carnivore diet. It's not just what you're putting in your mouth. It's so many other things. And the other things are the fullness of your life. And so let's take the canvas, right? You have a canvas, let's say, a painting canvas, pretend it's white, and it's a blank canvas. What you put on here, what you create, what you develop and grow on this canvas is, will either result in a beautiful painting or not. So I kind of, because I am an artist, I think of this carnivore thing in the same kind of way. It's building, here's my canvas, this physical being that I am. It's my canvas. And what am I going to put on this canvas? What do I want to create on this canvas of my life? And obviously I want to be vibrantly healthy. The carnivore diet has brought me there. But it also brought me to a mental clarity and understanding that I had never had before. A security in knowing myself that I was unable for most of my life to embrace and understand. My emotional level completely settled down and is humming, not flipping out. Or let's say the pendulum, like these pendulum swings that I used to go on, one to the other. And now there are fluctuations. We are human beings. We have cyclical movements, and there are times when we are in the sunlight, literally and figuratively, and there are other times when we're in the shadows, but it is no longer a shooting into euphoria, this euphoric stage of and then completely dropping and crashing into utter darkness, which is, and then, levels, I would be fine. And then in my hormonal cycle, they were playing a role in how I was handling my daily life. But now, none of that happens. So even when I find that I'm having a bad day and I'm kind of in the shadow area, I'm still looking at the light, right? I am like, it may be kind of a bad day. Things happen, life happens, and you may be having a bad day, but I'm still quite optimistic and out there, close to the light. I'm no longer diving deep. So my emotional levels have really balanced out, just really balanced out, and I'm emotionally stable, mentally stable as well. The thoughts that used to come in and knock off my mental balance no longer happens. A thought may want to come in, a negative, nasty, one of those negative, nasty thoughts, and then it's like, nah. Like without me going through any kind of therapy, and I'm not saying therapy is bad, and if you need it, oh my God, please go, right? Please go. But for my life, right, I had no idea that eating a carnivore diet, living the carnivore lifestyle, would balance all of these things out on their own. And it's really cool because I think it's Dr. Chris Palmer who is doing a lot of work in the carnivore diet in schizophrenia, and and the results that they're having is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. If you don't know anything about it, if you're new to this carnivore thing, go check out how the carnivore diet or a ketogenic diet, I mean, low carb, we're basically talking low carb. That's the big umbrella, low carb. And then these various forms of a low carb diet are in there. There's some other, I listened to a podcast the other day, and oh gosh, I have forgotten the man's name, forgive me. It was on Diary of a CEO. But he was saying that in their studies, they were finding that, we need carbohydrates. We don't actually need them. But if we have about 12 grams of carbs a day, they are utilized by the body in an effective way. And in fact, if we eat 0 carbs, then our body will make carbs, somewhere, between 5 and 12 grams of carbs per day, which is pretty much all we need. Well, that, you guys, is what, under the ketovore diet or carnivore, if you're drinking milk, that you'll actually get from the lactose, you'll get some carbs. But, it's obviously carbohydrates are not essential for the body. So it was really interesting to watch what happened to me. And so what I want to give you is that you need to sit down with yourself. You need to write out all the things that are going well in your life and write out all the things that are really bad, that are not going well. And then, write out the things that are, okay. They're just kind of average. And take a look at what's going on in your body. Really take a look. Learn everything you need to learn about going carnivore if you are interested in trying it out, especially in the first month, the first 6 weeks. Find out the keto flu, what that means, which basically is not a keto flu, it is actually a carbohydrate detox. Look at that, see what that is. Learn about what you need to do if, let's say, you come into constipation and you're kind of feeling fluish and things like that, or what it is that you can alter, and kind of adjust in this new carnivore journey. If you're just like brain dead and you just can't function during the day. What are the things that are happening and why? And all the information is out there, but you need to assess who you are and how you want to go about trying this carnivore thing. For many, many people, I think for quite a few, I don't know what the percentages are. I mean, hardly anything. There's hardly any change. But for some of us, it can be pretty intense, this carbohydrate detox that we go on usually in the first month. And it is just your microbiome changing. So, you bring that into account. And I always talk about it because it is a possibility. It's negative. It's not a happy thing, and can throw people off when they are so close. And it can be discouraging for many. but the ones that stick through come out and they're like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. What is it that I can, how is it that I have not discovered this before? And they get their energy back, their problems begin to dissipate until they disappear. If there's some serious health issues, it can take quite a bit of time before it's gone or at a level where you really don't need to worry about it anymore. I had Hashimoto's, and just through diet alone, I have no markers for Hashimoto's anymore. It just disappeared. And, am I aware that it was there? And, when I do eat a piece of watermelon, like I tried watermelon yesterday, I think about it. Sure, of course. My first one is, oh my God, watch out, be careful so you don't have a herpes outbreak. I've been carnivore for 4 years now, and I'm very much established into my lifestyle here. And it's all very healthy, and it's all, it just all really works. And so once in a while, I allow myself the ability to have watermelon. I absolutely love the watermelon is my favorite fruit. But do I eat a lot of it? Heck no. Do I eat it every day? No way. There's no way. But I'm not going to hide the fact that I had a piece of watermelon last night. I had a piece of watermelon last night. I'm not going to hide that or be ashamed of that, because I have done the work and I know my body, especially now after being carnivore for all this time. So you really begin to understand what's bothering you. When you eat something else off of the carnivore diet, you see the effects immediately, and you know what to do. If you have no reaction, it's not something that's going to spike you out and give you a hard time. Maybe if you ate it every day afterwards, maybe then it would. But you would know if you don't add 10 things back into your diet. So it's establishing the carnivore lifestyle. The foods that you eat, basically carnivore, and start there. Basically carnivore. You can weave your way into it. I'll put it that way. You can weave your way into the carnivore diet by starting ketogenic, depending on what you're eating. That's why you need to sit down and write everything out. Take a strong assessment of where you are. What are you eating? What's in your cupboards? What do you pull out? What do you eat every day? And even if it's just a little bite of chocolate, that needs to get down on paper. All the things that you're drinking, everything. And you have an assessment of your diet, and then you can choose, because you know you better than anybody else. So if you're the type of person that wants to weave in slowly to carnivore, that's what you do. If you're the type of person like me that just wants to dive right in and bang their heads on the wall, that's what you do. And then day by day, you take assessment and you work with it. But once you're carnivore, once you get there and you're carnivore and you're comfortable and you're not having, any keto flu kind of thing or carbohydrate detox, then you will notice that other things happen. And one of them is your mental clarity and your ability to focus and your ability to hold your attention somewhere, if you're a neurodivergent type like me, and also your emotional levels. Things happen. I discovered confidence. It sounds insane. It just sounds crazy me saying this, but it's true. On carnivore, I discovered my own self-confidence, which I had always been searching for, looking for, trying to develop, meditating on. I'm a yoga person, right? So I'm doing all of these things, and it just never happened to show up. It just wasn't there. I couldn't do it. And I go carnivore, and without even trying, there it is. Thus, my YouTube channel, me coming out here and talking herpes and talking carnivore diet and not caring what other people think about what I'm doing here and what I'm saying. And believe me, that's just not something I ever would have done before carnivore. Never, never. So there's that, the mental, emotional stability, the physical stability and clarity. Everything is just cleared up. And when everything is cleared up in here, I'm telling you, your energy levels shoot through the roof. And you're like, I got to get up and go walking. I can practice yoga again. I was not able to do yoga for many, many years until I went carnivore. I can't sit. I need to move. When I was the couch potato type, I just enjoy what is happening in my day. Like, my life is much more authentic, even though nothing has changed. I mean, in my physical surroundings, I'm in the same place, on the same island, in the same lifestyle, still an expat, and where it was difficult before, it no longer is. Nothing has changed. I'm still in the same house. I have the same view. So, so that's coming to live an authentic, vital, healthy lifestyle. Nothing needs to change in your physical surroundings. You don't need to sell your house and go live in a jungle somewhere. That's not it at all. Your life continues, your job continues, your community continues, your relationships continue. It's just that you become a better version with all of those different areas of your life. And, who doesn't want that? Who wouldn't want that? And that is what that's what I do. I help people come into the carnivore diet, get a handle on the carnivore diet first. And then when they become settled in it, it could just take a few weeks. For some people, it takes a little bit longer, but usually not too much. But when they get more settled in it, then they can take a look at themselves and reassess. Some people decide that, well, hey, I'm let's say 85% carnivore, and once in a while, or maybe 90% carnivore, or maybe 6 days a week, I'm fully carnivore. And then one day a week, maybe I'll have some sourdough bread. One of the people that I talked to on talk sourdough bread. Does that mean that he's hurting himself in any way? I don't think so. If he's eating a piece of sourdough bread and then has, an outbreak, well, then maybe he wants to reconsider the sourdough bread. Some people will eat more fruits and, be on an animal-based diet. They start carnivore, but then they say, well, I want to have a cucumber or an avocado or some berries, or maybe even an apple and half a banana once in a while. And they do that. And then if they have no reactions, I mean, you can tell right away when you're carnivore and you bring something else in, you can tell right away if it's bothering you. And then you go from there. So it's a continual learning process. So I'm not the person that is going to put you in a box and say, this is what you have to do. Don't do anything else. We start in a box. We start at the carnivore box, but the doors are open. The walls are open. You're just kind of standing there and you're working with that for now. And then when you get kind of reset, it's like that resetting stage. When you get that done, right? Then you can test out a few things. If you're not happy on a strict carnivore diet, I tend to be pretty darn happy. But like I say, summer is coming. I will have watermelon. I'll have a little bit of watermelon. I don't need a big, huge half a watermelon like I used to a day. I don't do that because I know that that is not going to be beneficial for me. But to have, a cup, a small slice once in a while, maybe once or twice during the week, that's perfectly okay with me. I can do that. I know I can. I know where my body is. I know that it is not negatively affecting me, that I can tell, because immediately I would have the Hashimoto's markers again, and I would have an outbreak. And there's no way that I'm going to go back to having outbreaks. If I try something and it bothers me again and again and again, strict carnivore. If I'm strict carnivore and I'm still eating butter and heavy cream and eggs, and I find that that's not working for me, then I get rid of those and I go towards a lion diet, right? You're under the umbrella of low carb. I would say no more than 12 grams of carbs a day. And you can move in this area, whatever works best for you. You know yourself. Are you the type of person that can nibble on other things, like this friend of mine who is eating some sourdough bread once in a while? He's okay with that because he's not going to dive in and eat the whole loaf every single day. He won't do that. But he knows himself. What if you're the type of person that would dive in? That would be me, and eat, slather on the butter and the honey, and there you go. That would be me. I wouldn't touch bread, with what do they call it? A 12-foot pole. I can't do it. I have to be very, very careful. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Thanks for listening. If you've come this far, I'd love it if you left a comment and let me know where you are. How do you work in your lifestyle changes? Where are you? Are you carnivore? Are you ketogenic? Are you just basically low carb? Are you kind of okay? Do you still get outbreaks? If you do, how often do you get them? Is there any benefit? Like, have you had any benefit at all? I know a lot of people who, if you do suffer from herpes, I know a lot of people that come forward and talk to me and get in touch with me. And I work with others who are on the carnivore diet and have also found that their herpes outbreaks stopped. All right, if you're interested and you want to ask me any questions, I'm right here. Thanks so much for being here. Being healthy, get your vitality back, and enjoy your life.